Okay, so I didn't want to go spend time finding a texture from CG Textures or something, so I just decided to use a GIMP's default patterns. So click on the bucket icon or do Shift plus B and choose Pattern Fill, and click on the icon. Usually you'll see this. It'll be clipboard. Click on that and choose the one at the way bottom, at the bottom, like the bottommost. It's called wood of some sort. Yeah, great name. Anyways, hit fill hole selection. So affected area, instead of filling similar colors, make sure it's on fill hole selection and click on the selected UV part. Now press Control Shift plus A to deselect all. And there, now it's Control plus S to save and see what it looks like. This is just base. We're gonna adjust some contrast and stuff later, because right now it looks like crap. Yeah, that's for a tutorial. It's fine. I'm sorry. Well, I don't like it at all. I would never do this for an actual model, but you guys can use a real wood texture. Just use the same method I used for the metal base. Paste it. Make sure that alpha to selection is on the UV part that you want, so that it's like the border is outlined, like the border, and then just paste your wood texture, Control plus X out of the wood texture, Control plus V, so that just that UV part space from the wood texture is pasted in. Now that's done. Let's keep moving actually, and let's go back to the UV layer, which should be pasted layer, no number next to it, and press R. This is the handle right here. Now I'll select it for you guys. This is the handle, if you remember, and anyways, but that box isn't part of the handle, so make sure you cut around the box using the rectangle tool. It's one of the good things about the rectangle tool. You can cut around and width. So let me try that one more time. I'm not going to worry about overlapping the other part, as I said before, because of what I said before. Yeah. Anyways, that it doesn't seem to be working, so let us. Anyways, it'll give me a chance to teach you about the free select tool. Click F to go into. It's also known as a lasso tool. It's extremely useful tool for cutting out organic shapes, but I don't think we needed it. But it doesn't seem to be working at the moment, so cut it out. Make sure. Actually, I'd zoom in if I were you. Zoom in to about 100%. That should be more than sufficient. And move this layers tab out of the way. Come down. Oh, by the way, if you don't have the layers tab visible, you can do Control plus L to bring up the layers dialog, which is when I started using GIMP, it was all like a big mystery to me. I mean, I couldn't even figure out how to change the foreground color. Anyways, select the handle part and Control plus X to cut out of the UV. Control plus V to cut back in as a new layer. Paste back in as a new layer. And just go to right click, alpha to selection, create a new layer. I like to have basically the bases on new layers. I just forgot to do that for the wood, but that's alright. But now I'd go Shift plus B to bring up bucket and hit adjust foreground color. I mean, click here, this black square. Click it, and a thing will come, and a pop-up will come up saying change foreground color. I have a red color. It's a little bit too bright for me. I'm gonna change it. I'll include the hex code as part of the tutorial. But for now, if you guys can't see this, I don't know, the video quality gets screwed up. The hex code is CD0706. Again, it's CD0706. CD0706. And we're gonna hit OK. Shift plus B, paste it in. Oh shoot. Okay, we gotta get out of pattern fill. Hit FG color fill at the top at fill type, and paste it. Give us a nice red look. We'll add some grunge to it later. Of course, if you guys want a clean look, you don't need to follow that part of the tutorial. Control plus S to save, just to see what it looks like. See that everything's looking good. I like to save after each step so I can check what it looks like in Milkshape, because I don't want anything happening which I don't want to happen, you know, like accidentally selecting other. Whoa, what was that? Yeah, see, we have a bunch of here we have this texture seam. So let's go back. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. So it's just back to this plain selection, and let's go to select. The select, it should be next to File, Edit, Select, and go to Grow. There, it should say All, None, Invert, Float, and then at the bottom it's like Border. Above that is Grow. Hit Grow and grow selection by 1 pixel. It'll grow. Actually, yeah. Shift plus B again. Paste colored in with that red color. Press Control Shift plus A to stop selection. Select none. Control plus S to save. Go back to Milkshape. Some of those texture seams should be gone after this because we just grew the layer by a whole pixel. Yeah, there we go. See, all of them are gone. I always like to do that. Grow the selection by 1 pixel because that like takes care of any or all texture seams that you might run into in your modeling careers. Anyways, let's go back to metal texture. Control plus C and go back to your mailbox UV. Control plus V. Paste it on as a new layer. Go back to your handle layer. Right click alpha to selection. The colored handle layer, and go to pasted layer, the metal layer. Control plus X. Control plus V. And new layer, and delete away the old layer. This should all be routine now. See, now it overlays it with the metal texture. Now you can't see the red anymore. Go to layers from mode, change that to overlay. That should give your metal much more definition if you like not the plain flat texture. So again, in mode, it should say right below layers in the layers panel, it should say mode. Normally it's in normal. Change mode to overlay. And then hit Control plus S and save it. Go back to Milkshape. See, now we'll zoom in on the handle. Reload the texture. I see a lot more definition there instead of that plain black color. Anyways, move this layer panel. We've already covered this area. We're gonna add later detail later, but for now, just move that layers tab out of the way. And let me see. This part was for the handle. So for this tutorial, I'm just gonna use GIMP default patterns. You guys can use better. I'll give you more info on that later. So cut this part out of the this handle area, and Control plus X to cut. Control plus V to paste. Cut it out of the UV area. And right click on the newly pasted layer. Hit alpha to selection, and like I did in the last one, right click, hit layer to image size, and select grow and grow the selection by 1 pixel. Go to Shift plus B, go back to your bucket, and click again on pattern fill. Wood of some sort. You should need to change that to paper. It's called paper, but it looks a lot more like slate or metal. Anyways, you guys can experiment around with this. If you don't want to use a GIMP default patterns, you can find an image, CG textures, just Google metal. Make sure you use if you're only using it in your game, you can just Google it, but I like to, when I'm using Google, like rarely, when I use Google, I like to make sure the search parameters are set so that it only searches for images that can be used in commercial work. So just throwing that out there. You can adjust that under advanced settings. Anyways, if you don't like this, you can find a lighter metal texture and paste it on and follow the exact same thing we did for pasting this base metal. And anyways, this looks perfectly fine to me, and I might click on slate, and instead of clicking fill hole selection, hit fill similar colors and something like that. That looks okay. Anyways, let's not do that. Let's actually duplicate this layer. Duplicate the newly colored in handle layer. Actually, Control Shift plus A first, then duplicate it. I don't know why that's not working. Anyways, right click, alpha to selection, Shift plus B, and make sure pattern fill is set to slate and affected areas set to similar colors, and just click somewhere. It should change the texture up a bit. Actually, that was a bit too much. Make sure that it's not too much, like it's not too much of an area. It doesn't get covered like that. Make sure you can still see the original somewhat. Okay, that's okay. And Control Shift plus A. Now adjust this layer mode to overlay again, like as we did before, and adjust the opacity to 50. Just type in 50 right there. And okay, let's see what that looks like. We'll decide whether we like it after we see what it looks like. Oh shit, we're missing one side. Okay, let's go do that side too, but to me it looks pretty dang good. I mean, I can't find anything wrong with that. We might add some transparency depending on how much time this tutorial is taking, but go back to the UV layer and cut out this little square annoying thing right there. Control plus X, Control plus V, and right click alpha to selection, Shift plus B, pattern fill, choose paper again, and fill it in. Actually, we forgot to select grow selection by 1 pixel, and Shift plus B, paste. I mean, not paste. And go back to affected areas. Make sure it's again fill whole selection, and click, and the whole selection's filled. Control plus Shift A, select none. Duplicate this layer. For some reason, this duplicate button refuses. So right click, duplicate layer. Duplicate layer. Right click, alpha to selection. Shift plus B if you X out of that, and fill similar colors, pattern fill instead of paper, move it to slate, and fill it. And Control plus Shift A, select none, layer mode, change it to overlay. Oh shit, overlay, and change the opacity to 50. There we go, that's the handle texture. Courtesy of Anayar. Alright, see, no texture seams because we did that growing operation. Alright, now only thing left to texture is this little box right there. We're just going to use a metal base, and then we might adjust light. We're going to adjust lightness, brightness, contrast, add grunge, and do everything else in the next part of this tutorial. Alright, metal base, Control plus C, mailbox underscore D2, control, just actually that's not, don't do the Control C part. Go back to your UV map, right click alpha to selection. This should be the only thing that gets selected. This handle support area. Go to select, grow by 1 pixel, and Shift plus B, actually not Shift plus Control, and Control plus V to paste that metal layer on. New layer, and go back to your handle layer. It should be all the way at the bottom. It's just called pasted layer. Right click alpha to selection, go back to your metal layer that you just pasted, Control plus X, Control plus V, same routine. Right click, delete this metal layer, and there we go. It looks let's Control plus S to save, and then reapply, and there we go. It looks pretty damn good to me. We're gonna adjust texture seams in the next part. Just brightness and contrast, and I don't know. Actually, before we end this, I'm gonna fix that too, that white part. So Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z before you pasted that, and before you grew the selection. And now select grow to 2 pixels instead of 1. So grow by 2 pixels, Control V in that metal thing again, the metal base. And if you don't want to have to do that Control X, Control V part, you can just hit anchor layer, and it'll get the layer you're pasting will get anchored right into the selection. Great feature of GIMP. Actually, it gets annoying sometimes, but in this instance, it was a great feature. But now save it. Reapply the texture, and those metal seams, those texture seams, should be history. Whoa, they're still there. Wow. Ouch. Okay. So now let's go back to before you grew it again. Hit grow, and let's just go for it. Grow by 5 pixels. What the hell? It's below the mailbox layer, so the mailbox will overlap it anyway. So Control V, anchor that metal layer so it just covers that, and Control plus S, save. Go back to Milkshape, mailbox underscore D2, reapply it, and now those texture seams should be gone. Jesus Christ. whatever. We'll fix those in the next part. This is taking way too long. And so what we have now is this looks like crap. We will make it look good. Alright, see you next time, guys.